Guys, welcome to our own cybersecurity channel that is SEC Friend. Today we will be covering A07, that is authentication flaw released by OWASP in the year 2025.
Imagine you are using a website with a login portal. It has enforced a 16-character alphanumeric password policy, integrated reCAPTCHA. Also, there is an OTP triggering mechanism. Also, the logging monitoring system is very well. It triggers all the alarms. But the engineering team or the deployment team left an API behind where there were no rate limits. Also, the session ID was not expired. Just imagine you are having an API endpoint which authenticates OTP with no rate limit and an unexpirable session ID. The attacker's mindset immediately triggers brute forcing the OTP with the 6-digit OTP or the 4-digit OTP. Any number of digits OTP can be brute forced here. And this is how the OTP law triggers. This is only one scenario. There are multiple scenarios in the authentication flow. So let's deep dive into it. Scenario 1, the API legacy bypass. Just imagine a scenario where you are entering an OTP and the backend API which validates the OTP is API/v1/auth Isn't that API/v1 sounds fishy? What if at the backend there sits another API that is API/v0 and it was not implemented because it was misconfigured? It had some flaws like rate limit. There was no rate limit implemented in that v0 API, and that v0 is accessible to anyone just by changing that v1 to v0 and keeping everything same. We can access that, and that v0 is connected to the original web server. The attacker can easily brute force the OTP, the 6 digit, the 4 digit, the 8 digit OTPs, and thus can enter into the login page of victim. This sounds scary, right? There are more scary scenarios. The scenario 2 is JWT manipulation. What is a JWT? Have you ever heard of that? A JWT is JSON Web Token, where the website authenticates with a web token in a JSON format. This JSON Web Token has three parts: the header, the payload, and the signature. The misconfiguration or the manipulation mostly happens in the last two parts, that is, the payload and the signature. Just imagine in the payload there is a field name user type, and in front of that there is written user. The attacker logs in with a malicious account. He made a dummy account for his own purpose, and the user type he got is the user. In the JWT token, he manipulates that user type from user to admin, and he gets an admin access using that JWT token. Isn't this sounds way too much scary? An attacker getting admin access just by manipulating a single user type. Sounds scary, right? The scenario 3 is OTP bypass. OTP bypass. Just imagine a scenario again. Your, your bank account credentials are compromised by a third party app. The attacker gets that credential as a valid credential. He enters those credentials, user ID ABC at the rate 123 and password ABC at 1234. And OTP is triggered. You just neglect you got the message of the OTP, but the attacker bypasses the OTP by using the three sub scenarios in the OTP bypass. What are those sub scenarios? The first sub scenario in the OTP bypass is brute forcing. Just imagine your bank account developer has not implemented the rate limit on the OTP field, and the OTP digit is only 4. The only 4-digit OTP is being triggered every time. So there are only 999 policies, that is 9,999 possibilities, and he can predict the OTP. He will write a simple Python script which will enumerate, or will rather use the intro tab of the verb sort, which will enumerate the OTP and thus can log in. Sounds scary, right? There are more scary scenarios. The second sub scenario is response manipulation. Just imagine the attacker again makes a dummy account in the login page or the website he wants to target. He just puts his original OTP and copies that response, the 200 OK response, the whole response body for the validated OTP. Then he gets the compromised credentials. It can be yours, it can be mine, it can be anyone's. He uses that credentials, XYZ at the rate 123, and OTP is triggered. He enters the wrong 6 digit, any random 6 digit, and he get a response 403 unauthorized, or any that wrong OTP 401, wrong OTP, and he changes that response status to 200 OK success and sends that request to the server again with a modified response, and the server misinterprets the response and lets the attacker to log in into the victim's account just by changing the response from 403 or any other status to 200 OK. That's how response manipulation takes place. The third subcategory in the OTP bypass is the double OTP trigger. What is double OTP trigger? Just imagine the OTP is triggered on a phone number and the same OTP is triggered on the mail account. And the phone number is the only user ID which has been mapped, not the mail account, email account. The attacker notices it. He keeps the phone number same, and instead of xyz@gmail.com, he puts attacker@gmail.com. An OTP will be triggered to victim's mobile number, but at this time, the same OTP will get triggered on attacker's Gmail ID. He will get the OTP and log in. Can vanish your credited amount if your government official, can deface your government website. That's how OTP bypass can lead to dangerous attacks. Subcategory is the recent flaw. Have you ever noticed about the recent button in the OTP mechanism, which always triggers after 30 seconds, 1 minute, 1.5 minute, any timer? According to the website, it varies, right? But what if this is misconfigured? First, the attacker enters the victim's mobile number. A session ID is being created for that mobile number. After resending the OTP, the session ID remains the same. Also, the mobile number remains the same, but at this time, the attacker captures the request and changes the mobile number to attacker's mobile number. The session ID is same, and the mobile number is changed, and the API is misconfigured. The victim's OTP will get back to attacker's mobile. He can log in easily. These were the four sub scenarios in the OTP bypass. But there is a main scenario remaining, which is mostly neglected nowadays, the forgot password flaw. Nowadays, there are two options in most of the websites having login page. One login with OTP and one login with password. Since most of the people don't remember the 16-digit alphanumeric password string, they rely on the OTP mechanism. That's why the developer makes the OTP mechanism too much strong, but forgets the password mechanism. And that's where the attackers target. The weak endpoints are targeted. Just imagine you forget a password and you got to know that the user ID is alphanumeric ABC123. Such a simple string from a leaked database. You get an user ID. You the forgot password asks for the user ID and email ID. You enter the user ID and you enter attacker@gmail.com. Just imagine both these fields, the user ID and email ID, is not mapped. It will send the OTP to the attacker's Gmail account or send the recent password link to the attacker's Gmail account, and you can reset the password. And that's how you can log in by resetting the password. So these were the four main scenarios where authentication flaws occur. So how to get safe from this?